I thank the ranking member, and I now recognize the gentlewoman from Georgia, Ms. Greene, for her 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you very much. I think funding is extremely important for our programs, especially when it comes to securing the border. And I would like to address the funding issue, and the ranking minority member on the committee that failed to discuss this with Representative Claudia Tenney, who's not even here on the panel to talk about her bill and defend her bill that he was saying he refused to co-sponsor. You know, unfortunately, many of the bills that were funded during the last Congress funded trillions of dollars into programs that made no sense. I'll just give you an example. An infrastructure bill that less than 10% actually went towards infrastructure. But I digress. Let's get back to the northern border. I'm from Georgia, so I don't know much about it because I live in a southern state, but I'm impressed with the fact that it has 5,525 miles, and nearly half of that is over water. I was also extremely concerned to find out that before, in the past 10 years, there were approximately 2,000 Border Patrol agents to cover that gigantic expanse of land. I also am very concerned to find out that DHS moved more than 20% of northern border officers to have to go process the gigantic influx of illegal aliens at the southern border, leaving northern border states to have to handle these problems on their own, a major problem. And that comes from lack of funding from the Biden administration in the last 2 years when they had full control in the House and the Senate. I'd also like to point out that it's extremely concerning and dangerous to the United States of America's national security that Canada's immigration policy allows Mexicans to travel to Canada without a visa. It seems that Canada wants to participate in Mexico's invasion of the United States because many of these Mexicans are obtaining an electronic travel authorization to fly into Canada, and they get that approved within minutes, and then they end up coming into the United States. One state in particular, Mr. Quinn, you come from. You're from New Hampshire, and I'm amazed that you have a population in your state of approximately 1.4 million people, but yet thinking about nearly 5 million illegal aliens that have attempted to come to the United States, that has to be pretty intimidating. Mr. Quinn, it was reported that in 2022, a family of 4 Indian nationals, including 2 children, died of exposure to the extreme cold in Canada near your border with the U.S. on their way to enter the U.S. illegally. In December of last year, a Haitian man was found dead in the woods trying to enter the U.S. illegally from Canada. And in just February of this year, a Mexican man entering the United States illegally from Canada died during the trek. In your experience, Mr. Quinn, of being from a northern border state, what type of environments do those who attempt to cross the northern border illegally usually face during the winter months?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the question. Those elements could be harsh and unforgiving. And just to be clear, I don't work at the northern border, but I spend time with those that do. And there's limited and often no cell coverage in some areas. And if you don't know where you're going, you can succumb to the weather very quickly. So it is quite dangerous.
So it's very dangerous to people's basic needs and survival. Mr. Quinn, the 287G program gives local law enforcement officers the authority to enforce immigration laws. It has been vilified by advocates, including the ACLU, and the Biden administration has not approved an application for the 287G program since 2021. As you note in your testimony, this includes the New Hampshire State Police's request to participate, which was recently rejected. As Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Safety, can you please describe the value local law enforcement, such as the New Hampshire State Police, can bring to this border crisis if they were only authorized to detain and apprehend those that are illegally crossing the border and dying on the way?
Yes, it's critical, and our governor has requested and asked twice for the delegation agreement. And just to be clear, our troopers can be working alone up there on that border. And what we want, we cannot enforce federal law, so we are just looking for this delegation so that we can act and take measures if they do come across those that are crossing in these remote areas. We have a great partnership with Border Patrol, but oftentimes they may be alone. Some of these Stone Garden details may just be state and local officers. We would like to have a partnership at each one, but in the event that the troopers come across these crossings, they want to be able to enforce the law.
Thank you so much, Mr. Quinn. Hopefully the Biden administration will come to their senses, and I yield back the remainder of my time.